can do all that dumb shit all by himself. He's proven that. So if you go and try to add to that as the opposite side, you look like a bigger jackass than he is. So why are people going to believe you? And that's the one thing, because people love to do that with him. And I'm like, why? Like, what are you doing? The guy can screw up all by himself, but you're going to go and add stuff and make yourself look a fool. So sometimes it's not that I would say I have compassion for the guy or anything of that nature per se, because I think he's an arrogant prick. I don't think he has compassion for anybody. Like, I don't. I think he's as narcissistic as they come, and it makes me sad that so many people think that he's looking out for their best interest.
Dude.
That all being
point.
said,
On point.
yeah. All that being said, like, I will say that there is something there when people, like, are like, oh, he's saying this, or blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Just print what he said, and you can make him look stupid enough. But if you print other stuff and you start assuming, you look like the jackass. And that is one thing that I will say, when he complains about that, he is correct.
You know, I look at it like you find out in wrestling what it is to be relevant. And if you make something not relevant anymore, it goes away. If you get what I'm saying, it's just I think people keep just making what he does too relevant in their everyday lives.
Exactly, and I think you're on point with that. I mean, that's a great analogy, because again, you know, in this day and age, if you don't have a social media presence, if you don't have, and I don't even mean like Facebook, Twitter, whatever the other ones are, Snapchat, all that good, you know, young person stuff. I'm an old fuck. But I mean, if you don't have stuff, you know, like articles written about you, if you don't have, a YouTube video here and there, you become irrelevant. I mean, even if you're traveling all the time, the problem is that you're so localized to even just that one area. If you don't have people talking about you, then you become, exactly like you said, irrelevant. And he makes sure to keep himself relevant. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then even people who hate him, just fan that fire. And I think that analogy is a good one. Nice shot, Castle.
Oh,
I'm gonna give
thanks.
you.
Appreciate
I'm gonna
that.
give you a social distancing high five through the phone.
Oh
baby.
God, yeah, high five. It kind of reminds me of Howard Stern. People tuned into Howard Stern just to hear what he was going to say next, even though they couldn't stand him for some odd reason. You know, and you got people that love him too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, the politics has become extremely, extremely polarizing. Basically, in my personal opinion, extremely polarizing since 9/11. Not to say that Bill Clinton and the cigar and the saxophone and the not inhale and the, you know, I haven't slept with my wife since the, you know, 1920s or whatever, wasn't a talking point. But I believe since 1911 it has come to the forefront where stuff is just, it's so divided. There is no middle ground, and that makes me sad. And that might not even be true. Like, that could be false. Like, most of the U.S. probably lives in that middle ground area, but the yelling and the loudest, I guess the people that are loudest on either side, and so it just, you know, radiates this inclusiveness and this I'm right, you're wrong attitude, you know, and that's not to say, and like I said, I could be completely wrong, because most of America really might be in the middle, and that's what I would hope for. I think that's what most people would hope for.
Concerning people's opinions on Trump, it kind of makes everybody on Facebook that participate in that look like a bunch of third graders.
Yeah, because it's not a conversation anymore. It's yelling.
Right.
It's yelling in text. You know what I mean? And like, I think one of the ones for me, and I don't know if you run into this. I'm sure you do. Probably everybody does. But the one that kills me is somebody will make a statement, right? And you agree with it or you disagree with it. And I do this too. Believe me, I'm the first to be just as bad, okay? So I'm definitely not putting myself on the pedestal, but you'll make a statement, and either somebody will agree with you or somebody will disagree with you. But then where it becomes an issue is the inability, if somebody comes to you with facts, not feelings, but if somebody comes to you with facts and disproves your statement, and then you refuse to at least acknowledge and go, hey, you know what, that's a pretty valid point, that's where stuff goes off the deep end, and that's all we have now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody hits you with facts, you're followed up with feelings, and as soon as they prove you wrong, now all of a sudden you switch gears, or you blah, 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 or you just go, like, you just try to yell louder. You know what I mean?
Dude, there's actually a
you
syndrome.
can't have a conversation. No, and you can't be wrong, right? Like,
right.
Nobody can be wrong anymore. Nobody can say, you know what, you're absolutely right, I was wrong. You know, you're so tied up, and specifically, since we're talking about politics, you're so tied up in whatever your political view is that, God forbid, you go, you know what, you make a valid point, I want to research that. You make a valid point, I was wrong on that, you were right. You can't. Because it's like somebody is attacking your identity. People are so wrapped up into it now that if you go, dude, like, this, and this, and you're hitting somebody with facts, they can't just be like, you know what, you're absolutely right, that is true. Now, I don't directly feel that way, but you make a very valid, factual point that I need to take into consideration. No, because now it's like a direct attack. It's like you basically just called their mom a whore and their dad a pimp, and they themselves are the scumbag living under the bridge. And that's not the way it should be, but that's the way it is now.
Dude, it sounds like what chimps do to each other.
They massacre each other.
Yeah, they fuck with each other, yeah. and if they out one person in the group, they all do it together, and that thing ends up dead.
Exactly.
They sling shit at each other, and they treat each other like shit. And we're not that far off. I think it was Joe Rogan said. Joe Rogan said we're like 99% chimpanzee. Well, it makes fucking sense.
Right, especially recently, and you know how we look at ourselves in the sense of how we go, like, you know, and I know this sounds very cliche, but I didn't get enough likes on that post. I didn't get enough hearts on that post. I'm a piece of trash. Or I wrote something and, you know, 3 people disagreed with me. Don't worry about the 10 people that agreed with me or gave me the rah-rah or the pat on the back or the, you know, good for you or I'm so happy for you or keep pushing it or whatever it is. Let's you know, put all our identity into the 3 people that, you know, called us a scumbag. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and it's so much like you have to identify with it. You can't change your mind. You're not allowed to. Like, and it's not that society says you're not allowed to. It's like you garnered it in your own head. If somebody disagrees with me, they're attacking me personally, and now I have to go on the offensive.
Right. That's exactly what goes on social media now. It's horrible. Let me get back to these questions, man. Who would win in a match in a storyline? Who would you put over between Biden or Trump in a perfect storyline? Say the go-home match.
So is it the blow-off?
Yeah.
So it's not a build-up, it's the blow-off. It's the final one of who's going over?
Yep.
And are we taking everything into consideration?
Sure.
Okay, so Trump's going over, A, because he's the current president, so he has the ability of the military, but B, obviously, as much as you know, we pretend that it doesn't exist. It's so funny. Obviously, the rah-rah Trumpers, you know, they have weaponry, they have heavy artillery, where apparently if you're Democratic, you can't own a weapon and you carry around flowers and you know, you kumbaya or whatever the hell that is. So obviously the heavy artillery must be on the Republican side, and obviously even if Biden got the 3 count, Trump would be able to figure out how to finagle his way into getting his arm raised.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. I pictured the whole thing while you were talking about it. That was fucking
awesome,
great.
awesome. I'm glad there was at least some sort of visual there, especially with the pasty white person with the little limp flower and the I love everybody guy there, and then all the don't tread on me guys with their hats and their giant grenade launchers pointed at that one person.
Right. Hey, you got a point. I like that. All right, let's get into these conspiracy theories. Do you believe in conspiracy theories?
Yes. I will say I'm not as heavy as some people. I'm also not as educated as a lot of people, so that would be one thing where somebody I could be like, oh no, dude, this, and this, and then they would whoop my ass. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I think there's, first off, I think there's stuff out there, just in general that, little things like, not all, and as a military man yourself, even in rank, but let's say divisions of the military, they don't all communicate with each other.
Right.
So to assume that one of the highest ranking members or the highest ranking member in the military knows everything would actually be sort of asinine, because there's other people in other divisions that aren't going to share that information.
Right.
So that's your basic alien concept. Yes. Do I think there's something out there? Yes, I do. I think that is a definite possibility. I think there is definitely some hidden stuff, and obviously we know they just came out, I think, a month ago, and did the whole UFO thing. So if you don't know about that, podcast listeners, go look it up. It was real quiet, but it's out there. The U.S. government,
Yeah, they released the film of the two fighter pilots. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's out there. Do I think there's things that are being manipulated for nefarious means? Yes, I do. I think that happens all the time. I think it's based around greed and power. I mean, that's really straight up what it is. It's greed and power.
Right.
There's a guy or there's a small group of people that wants all the money and they want all the power and they want to be able to tell people what to do, and they want people to not be able to do anything about it. And I think that's very legit. I don't know where it lies. I don't know how high it goes up. I don't know who knows what and how close we are to it, but I do believe it exists.
I want to turn you on to a book, and you decide for yourself whether it's bullshit or it's real. It's called The First Testament of the Illuminati. I got it on Amazon for like $8. It's a short read. It's I don't really want to describe it right now for some weird reason, so I'm not going to. All right.
You don't want to give it away. You don't want to give it away.
Yeah, I don't want to. If anybody I don't want to give away the book, because if you say something about it, it's going to give it away. It was a good read.
Right.
I'll say that it was a good read. It was a great read, actually. It was very, very well thought out, and it made me believe some shit. So. All right.
And I like either way. It's you read it and then you decide for yourself. You either say it's horseshit or it gives you something to think about, or you believe in it wholeheartedly. But hey, you took the time to read it. You took the opportunity to do some research, and a lot of people don't do that. And I think that's the perfect thing. Read the book, then decide yourself.
Right. I wanted to get both sides of the coin, and I did, and I believe one more than I believe the other. So. It just depends on what your outcome is. Do you who killed Kennedy?
Oh man. I mean, I think it's possible Oswald did, but I just feel like even if he did, I think he was the patsy, one way or the other. Maybe mom didn't have money for a surgery. Maybe he had a kid that, something was going on and it was all hush-hush. Maybe, he had a wife that we don't find about, know anything about